So here I am, literally drunk as Cooter Brown.
He was blue. He was covered in whatever might be in that portalette.
Culinary Institute of America. We can't talk about the other CIA.
Welcome to the Mark Romig Show. Today, a Secret Service encounter turns into a presidential po' boy stop. Parkway Bakery's Justin Kennedy is here with the story of just how President Obama ended up at his counter. So grab a seat and don't blink. You won't want to miss this one. The Mark Romig Show starts right now. I am so excited because not only does this make me even more hungry, but we have with us today Justin Kennedy, the owner of Parkway Bakery and Tavern. Justin,
How are you doing?
how are you on this beautiful day?
I'm doing great. It's early spring in New Orleans. People are out. It's the time of year people just go crazy because we know we only have a few weeks of it.
That's right. Right on Bayou St. John.
That's
But
it.
look, let's just get this out right now. How in the heck does a president wind up having lunch at Parkway Bakery and Tavern?
Well, I told a short story the other day about that, but with a little more detail. 2010, Obama, Michelle, and their two kids came to Parkway. But this was height of the BP oil spill, and I remember it was in August, and it was there was a lot of preseason games going. And preseason games, sometimes you get them on a Friday night. And at the time, I would never leave Parkway. I was stuck in that kitchen. I would never leave the kitchen. If I left, I was worried about something wrong happening.
Right.
Couldn't delegate back then. Well, a buddy of mine had some tickets to the Saints game. It was a Friday night game, and he was the owner of Charlie Steakhouse at the time. He's passed away, Matt Dwyer, really good guy.
Yeah.
And he gave me tickets, and I took them. And I took a friend. We went to the game, had the best time. But I had a couple of drinks, and I knew the next day was going to be a crazy day. Well, the next day, when the game was over, I went to Restaurant Luke. And back then, they had that big cappuccino machine. They don't have it behind the bar anymore. But they had this big cappuccino machine, and I got a coffee. Place was packed. But I went to go use the restroom. When I come back, there was a little girl in my seat, probably about 8 years old. So I just reached over, grabbed the coffee, and went a couple of bar stools down. And the dad saw that, and he said, "Sir, were you sitting there?" I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm good." And he made it a point to make his daughter get up and make us switch seats because she sat in an occupied seat to teach her a lesson. So here I am, literally drunk as Cooter Brown, in the middle of these people. And I'm talking, and back then I had business cards. I don't know why I don't have them anymore, but I had business cards. I said, and he'd never been to town. He was in town for the weekend, so I give him a card, and he never had a po' boy. So the next day I'm at work, about 12 o'clock, he comes into the pickup window. And he didn't have his family, he had a buddy. So I'm like, how awesome is this? Because I have people when I go to New York City or I go to Chicago, there's bartenders and restaurant owners that I meet, and it makes you feel like at home when you go back to that town, if you go to that place, and they recognize you and know you. So I make sure I make relationships with people from out of town.
And the business card works.
And the business card works. So I showed this guy around the whole place, gave him the history, gave him a little montage of food, and then he left. So that was Friday night I met him. Saturday he came by. Sunday morning, it's 11 o'clock right when we open. Guy walks in the restaurant like he owned the place, had the suit, American flag lapel. He says, "I need to speak to the manager." I go see him. He says he was, U.S. official so-and-so, and his job was, he was health and hospitals for the U.S. Navy on naval ships, and he wanted to make sure, he wanted to check our food out, check our kitchen. And I thought this was a new thing with the Board of Health. Board of Health comes Monday through Friday. All right, usually a Friday during lunch is when they come.
But not
they
working
never coming on the
Sundays.
weekend. Hey, if you want to keep your place a little messy the weekends, it's okay. They're not coming by. But I thought this was something new they were doing, so check around. And so he's checking around. At the same time, they had this old guy named Gene, lived across the street, sweetheart of a man, and he cooked barbecue chicken like every couple of weeks, and he was cooking, and he'd bring me a plate. Well, he called my cell phone. He said, "Justin, I cannot bring you a plate because these guys won't let me leave the porch." and you could peek out from my window and see his porch. He said, there's 50 guys in London fog jackets all over the place. So I walked out and I looked, and sure enough, trench coats right here, trench coats right here, and it still didn't click. And then I saw Marlon DeFillo, spokesman, NOPD back then, and he was in his starch whites. He had medals on I've never seen, and he was sitting right there on the corner. And the next thing, 2 one-way streets. Next thing you know, up the one-way, those military Suburbans, Cadillac Suburbans, bam, bam. Secret Service gets out of one, President and his family get out of the other. It wasn't like it was even, there was no notice. We were packed to the gills. And what he did is he got in the end of line, and then they made a perimeter. No one could come. There was like a sea of people 5 minutes after that. You could see a block away trying to get in, but they couldn't. But everyone who was there, they got to see the show. And I remember he did a double handshake to everybody in line. He waited at first. I guess Secret Service said, Mr. President, we got to keep this rolling.
Yeah.
We got a
schedule,
He had a speaking engagement at Xavier. So he double handshaked everybody to the front, right? And when he got to the front of the line, he ordered, and I had to make his food. And I got to meet him first. Before you do a service for the president, you have to meet him. It's like a thing. And I got to sit down with him for 5 minutes, and I remember him asking me, like, why do I like to do this? And I was just telling him, the people you see, 8 to 80, crippled to crazy. I mean, everybody comes to a New Orleans po' boy shop, And I was giving him an example of, there was a sewage and water board worker came right when we opened the day before, worked all through the night, and like, man, filthy dirty from working in that kind of business. And then he got a shrimp po' boy. And that's what President Obama ordered, was a shrimp po' boy.
Did he get it dressed?
He got it dressed. and I remember, it was picture time. While I was making his food, it was all real fast. It was all happened fast.
And are they watching you while you're
They're
making
watching
food?
me while I'm making his food. And some Secret Service guy comes in and says, look, I need to, it's picture time. Y'all want to take a picture? So all my cooks, all the staff, they left the shrimp in the fryer, left the pots on the stove, just ran out. And we're still busy. So here I am trying to handle everything by myself. And while I'm in there, another Secret Service guy comes in with a bottle of Presidential Seal champagne. It's Corbel, it's cheap stuff.
It's California, though.
Yeah, it has a presidential.
It's domestic.
Seal. So he comes in with it, and he has those Men in Black shades on, and he says, Justin, and I look at him, and he takes the glasses off, and it's the guy from Luke.
With your
he
business
was
card.
Secret Service all along.
Wow.
And that floored me even more than meeting the president. When I tell that story, people are like, they placed that little girl there. They were watching you, man. I've had like some crazy customers send me all conspiracy books and stuff. But I think what he said was, because he's from New Orleans. I've seen him plenty of times since. He said there's 2 people that come and check the place out weeks before. They know what time, they know the routes, they set up the place with the routes with the police department. He said he was part of like the 60 or 70 that come in 24 hours before. And he said, I met him, he came to the restaurant, right when he left the restaurant, the word was out they were going to Parkway.
Wow.
And he was so excited. And it blew my mind. It's one of the best stories, the best thing, most amazing things that's ever happened to me. And it happened to me because of Parkway.
Wow. It's just an amazing thing that happens on a regular basis at Parkway.
Yeah.
You get a number of celebrities through that place.
Yeah, so I mean, just like I said, everybody comes there, and I think that's typical in New Orleans po' boy shops. White tablecloth. I am a fanatic for white tablecloth restaurants, but there's only a certain group that can afford that, right? Mm-hmm. And same with like some of these corner stores in some neighborhoods. You might want to go. Some people might not want to go there. Some people love them. But a New Orleans po' boy shop, take my Parkway Bakery out of it, any of them, you'll have a man with a $500 suit rubbing elbows with a man who can barely afford a sandwich.
Yeah.
And they make friends.
Why do you think people come back for generation after generation to you?
To me, I think Parkway is if you take all these po' boy shops in the city and you put them in this room, you put them in a white box and you eat them, they're all good. They all do a good job. I'm never going to say mine's the best. I have a line down the street every day, keeps me working, and I'm humbled by that. But Parkway has an atmosphere like no other, but it has a history like no other. I mean, this place, Parkway's older than the Po' Boy. It started in 1911. It started as a bakery, and if you look at that quintessential tin awning corner cut building, they're all over the city. Katie's is one of those. Parkway's one of those. Mandina's is one of those. I mean, you could keep Napoleon House is one of those. You can keep on going, but like 100 years ago, there were corner bakeries, corner delis, corner barbershops, corner butcher shops, and when the big box stores came in, they kind of turned into what they turned into. Some stayed restaurants, some went other places, some are homes.
There's a story too, and I've heard you share this, that you came in and stepped in, and our Parkway would not be where it is today.
Well,
you would tell that story because it had something to do with a major hurricane.
Yeah. So let me say, my uncle Jay Nix, and it's funny. Everybody thinks I'm the owner of Parkway, which, I'm carrying the torch. I'm my uncle's retirement, but right now, and I'll carry the torch one day. But my uncle is the owner. Jay Nix is the owner of Parkway. And he reopened that place he reopened it in 2003, okay? But he bought it in 1995. Mm-hmm. And see, I'm from Biloxi, Mississippi. My grandfather was a doctor, South Carrollton, and my mother and all the family was raised over there in Riverbend. But she moved away in the 70s, met my father, so I was raised over there. But I always had a favorite uncle, and Jay Nix was my favorite uncle. My mom, growing up through grade school, bring me to New Orleans, and I worked with him on the weekends. And he had bought Parkway in 95 from the old brothers who had it since like the turn of that century, 1911, the Timothy family, and Jake and Bubby. And they are the guys that made Parkway Bakery famous. That is one of the main reasons that people come back, because they remember going in. You were telling me a story off air, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, people going. They closed up in the early 90s just because, that was an industrial area. You had the American Can Company. Now it's condos and apartments. You have the Lafitte Greenway. That was the Southern Railroad line. You have all these beer brewers, Skeeter Hawk, all these coffee shops, Wrong Iron, all the bars. It's coming up. But Parkway's time, it was all industry, and that faded off and moved out. Takes neighborhoods to get old to come back again. And Parkway was old in the early 90s. And that neighborhood was tired in the early 90s.
Yeah, I remember going there to get the brake tag.
Yeah, the brake tag
the
station
brake tag
was there.
Station was there.
And my uncle bought it when the old guys put it up for sale. He made it a tool shed for its construction business. And I'd go work with him on the weekends from 12 years old to 18 years old. And we'd go everywhere in the metro area. And if he saw a customer with some age, he'd say Parkway, they'd say bakery. And they'd tell him stories how they used to go there when they were a kid, and their dad used to get the Dixie beer and stuff. So it gave them enough oomph to reopen it.
Yeah.
And I was an 18-year-old kid, graduated Biloxi High. All my friends went to like Southern Miss. So I'm like, you know what? I'm moving to New Orleans. He asked me to come. So I was with him. I remember the first day open in December of 03. My uncle's a smart man. He knew we hired chefs, we hired managers. And I mean, I was a kid. I was washing dishes and just watching. But I did take courses at UNO and did take courses at Nunez for hospitality, and learned a little bit. But Katrina hit when I was 20 years old, right? And everybody has a Katrina story. And my story was, my uncle, when we got 7 foot of water. And you got to think, he put almost close to $1 million in that place in 2003. And you're making it back, making ham sandwiches. Everybody thought he was crazy. He went to like 20 banks, and Gulf Coast Bank and Trust gave him the loan. Yeah. And I transferred from UNO to Southern Miss. I was only there about 2 months. And I lost my truck in Katrina, and I bought a motorcycle. Young and dumb, bought me a motorcycle, 20 years old. And I wanted to come back and see the city. And you couldn't get in for a while. It was blocked in. He actually had a buddy who had a helicopter and got in, opened the windows, got all the money out. But I remember in October, I drove in on the motorbike, and I strapped a 5-gallon can of gas where the passenger sits because there were no gas stations. And I remember this like yesterday. I can just see it right now, Mark. Going over I came in at dusk. It was dark when I was going over the high rise. Going over the New Orleans high rise is a feat. There's crazy drivers. You got to watch everywhere you're going. And then when you get up to the top, you're distracted by the beautiful city skyline and the bridge and everything, especially at nighttime. Imagine going over that with a motorcycle. No noise but your motorcycle. No other vehicles, only your motorcycle light. And there's swamp bugs in it. Swamp, like you're like deep in the swamp. I mean, when you go over that high rise and you're about to drop down and you look at the city, nothing. Pitch black. There's a little glow in the French Quarter. That was a lifesaver for a lot of people. And when I pulled up, that was my fork in the road. I said, you know what, Unc, I am not going back. I'm pulling out of school. Because that year and a half that I was involved with Parkway, it wasn't about the food, because I really didn't know how to cook. It was about the relationships I met. It was about the line out the door weren't new customers. They were people that had went there and wanted to revisit it, and they were older in age, that they're not with us anymore. You know, and it was the stories and people that I have met in my life in New Orleans is absolutely amazing. And it's all due to Parkway Bakery.
Yeah, you mentioned that you spoke recently at the Pro Start program. The LRA had their awards program, and you were talking about what the key is to this business, and if you'd expound on that a little bit.
Yeah, and I was, the culinary, it was the LRA Education Board, and they have this Pro Start competition where they have culinary classes in high schools all over the state. They come in at the convention center, and these kids are amazing. They're 16, 18 years old. They have they concepts where management teams where they'll tell you the concepts of their restaurants and give you food cost and menu design, and then they have a culinary side where they'll do appetizers and entrees and desserts. And I mean, it's like 5-star restaurant quality. Yeah. And I was just explaining to them, you know, how far ahead they are and you know, the culinary industry, how it can be good for you. But just to motivate them, I was telling them about this culinary key to the city. And I thought about that. I've really never, that was the first time I ever thought about it and said it. You know, culinary key to the city, you got to put some time in to get it, but it's something that's, it's not just given to you. You got to put the work in. But it can be as simple as, look, I was at Parkway the other day. E.J. Lagasse pops in with Jose Andres, and they're eating lunch. And I was telling him I want to bring my wife in for her birthday.
Yeah.
And he said, "You got my." It's hard to get in there because they got 11 tables. You know, you got to get booked months out. Yeah. He says, "You got my number." You know, I don't know if I'll ever use it, but that's a key. I can if I need to. You know, so it could be simple as getting in a restaurant no one can get into, or getting, you know, a free drink comp because they know you, because they bring their grandmother in there on Sunday, or it could be a chance to meet the President of the United States.
Right.
You know, I've gotten to go to the Super Bowl, you know, because of that. I've met all kind of New Orleans artists. I mean, you talk about hip-hop artists, Master P's a regular, Juvenile's a regular, Anthony Mackie comes in all the time. But then if you go like old school people who aren't here anymore. Dr. John was a regular. Alan Toussaint was a regular. Pull up in that gold Rolls Royce. You know, Pete Fountain was a regular.
You know what's so great?
I got to meet those guys.
And they're all standing in the line with everyone else, and they get to the window and they give their order.
It's amazing.
That's fantastic.
So, like, yeah, you get this culinary key to the city. It's a tight-knit crew. Everybody knows everybody in the food world, you know.
Okay, so somebody's visiting New Orleans for the very first time. They show up at Parkway. What's the one po' boy you tell them they cannot miss, that they have to go with? Can you do that? It's like talking about your children.
Yeah, I can do that. Like one of my favorite po' boys, I would say, I would say get the surf and turf. It's fried shrimp and roast beef, because every sandwich shop's judged on their shrimp or roast beef, po' boy shop. And we have dynamite both. So if you want the best of both worlds, that. But my personal favorite would be cravings for is a fried oyster po' boy.
All right.
Yeah.
So Michelin just provided you a nice acknowledgement.
Yeah.
Talk about that Bib Gourmand you got.
Yeah, you know, last year about this time, Michelin contacted us. And they had a bunch of questions for us about being in the Michelin Guide, and I was like, they got to have something wrong, because how does Parkway Bakery get to be in the Michelin Guide, You think about the restaurants, you go to the website.
Speaking of E.J. Lagasse, because they
Yes.
also received the.
I mean, look, we're both driving
2 stars.
vehicles here, but I'm driving like a tricycle, and that dude's driving like a jet. We're both moving, but the skills that it takes to do what they do versus what I do. I'm not selling myself short. I do sell we serve over 1,000 people a day, and you got to repeat that. But I guess that's what Michelin saw.
Yeah.
What I did not know is Michelin has a award called a Bib Gourmand, and it's basically quality and value, and that's what Parkway is.
Yeah.
It's high quality local ingredients, and you get a lot for a little.
Yeah, that's wonderful that
And
you
that's what it's-
recognize
that's
that
what
way,
it's at, yeah.
and your team had to feel so wonderful to be
Oh, yeah,
recognized.
and
that's
it was
international.
All the ones that made it happen, and I wanted everybody to be there. This is the whole staff. This is what makes the building come alive. And I love y'all. Thank y'all.
Michelin 2025, baby.
If you're in that realm, that Michelin star realm, it's on your radar. I did not know the reach of it until now, and I'm so honored to be in it.
Well, you have been on Food Network, Bon Appetit, countless other video productions, but tell the truth, your favorite was with the guys right here, and love to eat, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
love to eat.
Love to eat, guys.
This
They're
is
the
where
best.
it's at. Y'all are. Everybody wants to come see you, Mark. You're like the ambassador of New Orleans. You are, man. I mean, if I have a chance, and this is the chance, I've never had a chance to sit down and talk to you like this. So, this is going to be added to my list.
You're a nice man. Thank you. That leads me to the official New Orleans Questionnaire.
Yeah, go ahead.
All of our featured guests go through this process, and have a feeling that you've been asked some of these questions before, but this is on our show, so let's see what we do. All right, what is the best po' boy?
The best po' boy would be a fried oyster with butter and pickle. And you put butter on both sides of it, maybe a little mayo. You grill the bread side down, pickle on both sides, and a good fried oyster, not too big, not too small, and frying in a light corn flour and just
And that can be specially ordered at Parkway
on
Bakery
Wednesdays and
Tavern.
Thursdays only. We have them 2 days a week.
All right, well, I'll see you.
Yeah.
See you soon on that one. All right, you have an opportunity to see one New Orleans musical artist, dead or alive, in concert. Who would it be, and where would you see that concert?
Ooh. I'm going Louis Armstrong, and I'm either going, if I wanted to go rustic, I'd want to see him in a Preservation Hall,
Oh, wow.
or if I wanted to go fancy, I'd see him at the Windsor Court Polo Lounge.
Very nice. Nice setting there.
Yeah.
Ralph Mahana does a great job over
Yeah,
at the
it's-
Windsor
it's a
Court.
beautiful place.
Yeah. All right, next one. What is your favorite New Orleans smell?
Ooh. Well, I'm a little biased because I deal with bread a lot. So I pick up my hamburger buns from Dong Fong. I get a little bread from Jindusa, and I get a lot of bread from Leinheimer. So fresh baked bread
Nice.
is the best. But the best smell, you can't get it anymore. It ain't there no more. But I used to get a little bread from Alois Bender.
Ah.
So you pull up, I think it's like in the Marigny, right? Is that the Marigny
That's right.
Bywater? You
Uh-huh.
pull up in the Marigny,
Yeah.
so you still get those French Quarter, you get that river air coming off. When you walk into Alois Bender, it was the only French bread bakery that also had sweets and pastries. So when you hit that front door and saw all the cakes and cookies and pastries, and then when they opened the door to the back for the bread to come in, that mixture of fresh bread and fresh pastries was a smell like no other. I can smell it right now.
Yeah, as you describe it, I'm smelling it.
Right.
All right, so let's go the other way. What's your least favorite smell?
Ooh, my least favorite smell. My least favorite smell has to be when, like, I don't know, when it rains real hard, heavy summer, but it only rains for like 5 minutes, and then it stops, and then the street starts steaming, and the sewer gas starts coming out.
Everything comes up off that street.
Oh
yeah.
man, that's horrible.
All right. All right, here's one. Mardi Gras or Jazz Fest?
I would say Mardi Gras, only because I'm off on Tuesday and I get to enjoy it.
Good for you.
Yeah.
That
I
works
like
out-
Jazz Fest too, but I'm always
That
working.
works out perfectly.
Yeah, it does work.
All
out
right, so
perfect.
you had to build a Saints Mount Rushmore. Who would be on there?
Ooh. Okay, so this is going to be on talent, but then off the field too.
Okay.
So, people watching, oh, you might be wrong. Okay, I'm going to go Archie Manning. I'm going to go Drew Brees. I'm going to go Deuce McAllister.
Okay.
They're still invested in New Orleans. And there's only 4, right?
It's 4.
Yeah, well, I would say talent.
Doesn't make you can still add another one.
I
if
would
you
say
need to.
talent, I'd throw in Ricky Jackson.
Okay.
But probably number 1 on top of all of them, none of them in order, but I'll say number 1, Steve Gleason.
Yeah.
Steve Gleason, because he's pioneered, ALS, fight battling that since then, and he's still with us here in New Orleans doing great work. And he was on special teams. He didn't play as much as the other guys, but that one punt block.
Oh my God. He inspired then. He's inspiring now.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, here we go. Gumbo. Chicken or seafood?
Ooh. All right. I'm going to say New Orleans. When I'm in New Orleans, seafood all day long. But when I leave the show, I'm in Lafayette 2 days a week. That's where my wife and daughter are. You can't touch their chicken and sausage.
Really?
So I would say when I'm in Lafayette, chicken and sausage, New Orleans, seafood
Okay.
all the way.
That's fair. That's fair. What's your favorite New Orleans movie or TV series?
I'd say a movie that it's probably pretty. You've probably gotten this answer plenty of times, but something that just like I would like to see, I would like to drop back in that world would be Streetcar Named Desire.
Ah.
That's like
Classic.
classic, real old school New Orleans.
Classic. Very good. Neutral ground or sidewalk side?
I'd say neutral ground, riding and watching, just because you got a little more room. If you're watching, I always stand back and have my hands out, and you'll see somebody will catch you, and they're gonna throw you something.
Well, you got
good.
some height. That works.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
I
right.
can't do that.
But same with riding too.
Yeah, cool. All right. Your earliest memory of visiting the French Quarter?
My earliest memory of visiting the French Quarter, I was with my buddy, and I was like 6 years old. And like I said, I'm born and raised in Biloxi. But his dad took us to New Orleans, and we parked on Decatur Street, and we got a Central Grocery muffalata. And I remember that from like 6 years old. We sat there right on the street, right on the curb, and ate it.
Wow.
And I think it's pretty much all we did, and we drove back.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's a great memory. And you can still do that.
Yeah.
You can still sit on that curb.
You can, and I know the owners. Frank Tusa comes to Parkway all the time, gets a corned beef sandwich. We're buddies.
There you go.
You know?
All right. Dead or alive, who is the one person you'd like to take to lunch? And where would you take them?
Oh, man, I'd have to say I'm going to go with my grandfather that I never met from New Orleans. His name was Dr. James T. Nix. You know where that NOLA cannabis building is on South Carrollton? Used to be the Hayek Eye Clinic. That was the Nix Clinic.
Oh, yeah.
And his dad had a clinic there before him. So
Up
last
near the Riverbend, yeah.
Yeah, Riverbend. And
Yeah.
he was a doctor and a surgeon. And since I've lived here the last 23 years, so many people have told me stories about him. And back then doctors, they did house calls. And you had to be everything. He was it wasn't like a specialist.
Right.
You did everything. And
Yeah.
I'd just like to meet him because he was a New Orleans character and figurehead.
That's beautiful. All right. Your favorite New Orleans song? Either a song by a New Orleans artist or a song about New Orleans.
We took a boat to the land of dreams. Heaven on earth, they call it Basin Street. Basin Street Blues, either by Louis Armstrong, my favorite was by Dr. John. You bottle that song up and you send it anywhere in the world and open it up and have someone with a different language, nationality listen to it, that is New Orleans.
That is it for
Basin
you.
Street Blues is
That's-
the best New Orleans song to me.
Would you come back and do the whole thing for us?
I would.
Sing the whole song for
I
us.
would.
Oh, that's wonderful. All right. What is the one New Orleans food item you can't live without?
The one New Orleans food item I can't live without would be turtle soup. I am a turtle soup fanatic, specifically from any one of the Brennan's restaurants. It don't matter what cousin. It can be Ralph, it can be Dickie, it can be Cindy, it could be Commander's Palace, Mr. B's. They all have the same recipe, and they're not tight with the sherry. You know, they'll hold that sherry.
That's
it's
right.
like, pepper, please, and you just, you wait, sherry, please, and you don't say nothing until it fills
Keep
it up
pouring.
another half a cup. But it's absolutely delicious. It's
Yeah.
made with real turtle meat. And a hack I just found out, actually from the Audubon Clubhouse, which Dickie took that over. They have deviled eggs, and you order some deviled eggs and throw that in it. Man, turtle soup is
And
the
that's
best.
you, man. You are making me hungry. All right, you've been out of town for a month. You're just flying back into the airport, great airport that we have here. You hop into an Uber and you decide you need a drink. Where are you going to go, and what are you going to drink?
Ooh. Okay, this is going to be one that really a lot of people don't know about because you got to be a member. But it's not like a high-end thing. So the New Orleans Athletic Club
Right.
on Rampart Street, it's about $80 a month. It's a gym, but it's an old classic building.
It's classic.
Well, this place has one of the most beautiful bars in the city. I mean, it has a 50-foot old school copper top bar with a bar back from like the 1800s. And I like it because it's never busy, right? Because it's a gym. Who's drinking in there but Justin, you know? So I can go in, get a drink. And what I get, the bartender's name's Chris, he already knows what I'm drinking. That's cool too. And then you don't have to pay a bill. That's really cool. You know, it makes you feel like you got money until you get the bill.
You get
at
that
the
once
end
a
of
month, you
month.
get the bill. Yeah.
And they automatically draft it too, so that's rough sometimes. But in OAC, and I'll get a Bombay Sapphire with tonic. And the tonic is the key. It has to be the Little Baby, Fever Tree, or any kind of can or bottle,
Yeah.
as long as it's a small one. And it goes with the drink. You open it, you dump the whole thing in the drink, that's it, with a little lime. Because tonic on the gun, that's for the birds, man.
Yeah.
You know, you got to have that little bottle, like Alka-Seltzer, you know.
Love it. Love it. All right. In 5 words or less, why do you love New Orleans?
5 words or less. Not perfect, but it's home.
Beautiful.
That's it.
That's wonderful. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I am just so pleased that you were able to stop in today. I know how busy you are. You got to feed 1,000 people a day, and those people are very lucky to be at Parkway Bakery and Tavern. Hey, crew, I'm starting the official New Orleans Questionnaire Hall of Fame, and Justin's going to be our first inductee.
Yes.
You've done a great job. Do I get a second on that? You'll second that? All right. You'll be getting a plaque to hang on the wall there
Great.
at
Well,
Parkway.
I appreciate
You got
it.
that. Thanks so much for joining us. Hope to have you come back. I know you've got so many more stories that we have time for next time.
Well, thanks for having me. When I saw you were starting this about a year and a half ago, I'm like, ooh, I can't wait till I hope I get a call, and I can't wait because, Mark, you are a New Orleans gem. When you talk about living legends, in my book, you are the top of that bill for New
Oh, man,
Orleans.
you're
So
kind.
thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Listen, it's a team effort here. My sister, Mary Beth, by the way, sends her best. You're always helping out with the media visits that come into the city of New Orleans.
And you know what throws me off? I did not know until like 3 years ago. Now that I'm gonna get hate for this. I didn't know you were until that big to-do came out on the news that you were the voice of the Saints. I never knew
You
it.
thought my dad was still announcing?
I never knew you were the voice of the Saints. I don't know where I've been under a rock. Maybe that's the Biloxi, Mississippi side of me.
That's a whole nother story we can get into one
yeah.
day. But thank you, and we're looking forward to the season. It's going to be
Oh,
exciting.
it's going to be electric.
Yeah.
It is going to be electric.
We'll look forward to seeing you in the stadium as well. Justin, thank you. Have a great rest of the day, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Mark.
All right,
Thanks
buddy.
for having me.
Take care.
All right.
All right, crew, good to see y'all.
Hey, Mark.
Thank you for your support as always. Good weekend. What did y'all do?
I was at the Home Patio and Barbecue Expo all weekend at the convention center, which was a great time. Lots of chefs from all over the world, a lot of barbecue enthusiasts from all over the world. Really cool fun. And then got a chance to go over to the LRA Pro Start with the kids, seeing the future of our culinary industry here in New Orleans. And I am more excited about that than anything else. The future of our culinary industry is on point and on fire.
Yeah, Justin Kennedy, who we just heard from, spoke to that group as well. Very inspiring chat he gave. New Orleans French Film Festival. I attended the event on Sunday at the Britannia.
Yeah, how was that?
It was great. They showed an 80-year-old French film, The Beauty and the Beast. It was the first of those stories done by Jean Cocteau, the French director. It was pretty neat. And then I was on the North Shore as well. We had the Collins O'Connor family reunion. This is my mother's side of the family. My mom, who is proudly saying she's 94 years old and she's doing well. She and her first cousin Florence Unstead were the matriarchs at the party. It was great. We had about 65 members of the family there.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty neat.
And I went down the bayou this past weekend to Matthews, right outside of Raceland. My stepmom, she turned 50 over the weekend.
Very good.
So that was fun.
Good.
Birthday's
Beautiful
over.
weather, huh? I mean, this
was-
weather
it
has
was really
just
nice.
been magnificent.
This is peak crawfish weather.
Yes, it is. And festival weather, it's just fantastic. All right, we got a great show. Let's get on with it. It's now time for one of our favorite parts of the show, On the Table, presented by Blue Runner Foods, where we bring the taste of Louisiana to our and your table each week. This is where we celebrate the flavors, traditions, and people behind New Orleans cuisine. And today we are excited to be joined by Chef D. Lavigne of Delightful Roux School of Cooking.
right.
Hello, Chef. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Mark. How are you?
I'm fine. Look, you're a native New Orleanian. You opened the first black-owned cooking school in the city. Tell us about it.
So, Delightful Roux definitely was not my original vision. I would say that. The school came about through COVID. I was actually working on my bakery. I used to have a bakery company called Delightful Cupcakes, and COVID had other plans. By way of a couple of conversations, I ended up working on a project with the Smithsonian American History in Washington, D.C. that really, really introduced me to Chef Lena Richard.
Oh, wow.
And that's where the idea all started.
That's an inspiring moment for you, wasn't
Yes,
it?
100%.
Fantastic. What do you love most about teaching people how to cook?
I think teaching people that, number one, it's not as hard as you think. Number two, you're halfway there. You just need a few tweaks. And flavor is always on the horizon. It just takes time.
Yeah. Being a mentor and an educator at the same time, I think, is important because people get inspired by you, and then they go back and they think they can do great things because they can.
They can.
All right.
Yeah.
Here's the one thing I've got to ask.
Uh-oh.
Roux.
Roux.
I don't seem to do well with roux. What do you tell people?
So, first of all, I tell people, number one, it doesn't take all day. We're in New Orleans, people ready to eat. We're not trying to make roux for 30 hours, right? Number two, think about your fat choice. I like to go with canola oil.
Okay.
One seed oil, high smoke point, no flavor. That's what you're looking for. It's going to toast your flour to whatever beautiful color you want to settle, whether you're in that blonde, peanut butter, or dark chocolate color.
Well, how do you start it, though? Is it 2 parts, 1 part? Or?
So it depends on what you're making. And it has to depend on whether or not you need a heavy, thick kind of consistency.
Right.
So usually people start 1-to-1, 1 part oil, 1 part flour.
And you just start working it
And
over,
then you start working it.
over the
Best
flame.
thing I can tell you is to get your pan warm first and then add your oil. Once your oil is hot, then add your flour. And you're going to mix
Is that
like
one of the big
Dickens.
mistakes people make?
I do. They put it all in there together and they're stirring paste for seems like eternity and hoping it all comes out right.
Well, we don't have a kitchen yet in the studio. Maybe one day. But if we did, what would you be cooking for us today?
Man, you know what? The thing that's really been taken off of me the most that people enjoy learning is New Orleans style barbecue shrimp.
Really?
Yep. I think the excitement of the way that I cook barbecue shrimp, no oil, lots of butter, and beer, they're already connected.
And you're not putting it on a grill.
No grill.
Right? Because you initially think, well, I'm going to barbecue some shrimp.
Nope.
You may lose them in the grill,
Yeah,
right?
the wording is a little bit tricky, but no, there is no grill. It's done with a hot pan with no oil. That's where the char comes from. That's that barbecue flavor.
Well, that brings up that confidence issue. You know, someone will say, I could never make that. What's your advice to build confidence in the kitchen?
So I always
Because
say
that would
if
be a
you're-
magic for me to do a barbecue shrimp. That's
Yeah.
something that I don't have.
To build confidence, I always say start at breakfast. Breakfast is the easiest meals to prepare, but yet they're the hardest because they're the simplest. To make an actual omelet requires a lot of skill, but you would think it's just eggs. But start at breakfast. It's the easiest and the most forgiving because if you mess it up, you just put syrup or powdered sugar on top of it and you keep moving.
Do you have your favorite breakfast dish?
My favorite breakfast dish would probably be biscuits. I am a biscuit girl. I
Scratch.
love biscuits. Of course.
Of course, that's a silly question to ask you.
Of course, from scratch. Yeah.
I can imagine. I'm so used to buying it off the shelf, right?
That's okay. I mean, listen, food happens how it happens. I feel like people live in a different time. We don't all have time to make everything from scratch.
Yeah,
I'm
but
sure my
scratch
mother would
biscuits.
have loved to have some help with 8 kids and, pre-made items, but she didn't. She had to cook. So, everybody has a different time.
Let's talk about the influences in your life. Who were the influencers? Is your mom? Who else has inspired you?
Yeah, so my mother was a decent cook. I had 2 grandmothers, one that cooked and one that baked. And they allowed me the opportunity to watch and grow. And that was something that I could never, ever, I can't thank them enough for. I think it was my dad that really got me involved in hanging out with my grandmother, his mother.
Yeah.
That, man, I didn't like hanging over there. She was not the nicest, right? That lady was very matter of fact. You couldn't make a mess in there. You had to pay attention. She was the one that was going to whack you if you weren't on cue. And he was like, I want you to go spend time with my mother. I'm like, Jesus. Out of all the people, really.
I want to have a good time here.
Right?
But I bet that discipline in the
Best
kitchen.
things to do in my Saturday. But yeah, that discipline definitely got me ready for one of my biggest challenges was going through the CIA.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was that experience like?
So
And that Culinary Institute of America.
Culinary Institute of America. We can't talk about the other CIA. But the Culinary Institute, right? So it's the Harvard of Culinary Schools. At the time when I went to school, I was probably the 3rd female in my group of 30. There were not very many women. So women were more tight-knit and close together. But, man, you want to talk about stress. It was very stressful, but they had a job to do, and that job was to make sure that you were prepared and that they were pumping out a product that was consistent. The name says something because it means something, and it's true.
Did they place you in kitchens, commercial kitchens, while you were in school?
Oh, yeah, of
Or
course.
the internships were active?
I actually did my internship right here in New Orleans at the Full Service Marriott.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I got to work with Chef Mark Beaupre. He's an alumni from CIA. And, man, we literally worked through every aspect of hotel hospitality of food and beverage, which I really enjoyed.
Wow, that's wonderful. And you must have a good sort of support system now, all these CIA graduates that
Yeah,
connect
we're
with
all
each other
kind of
on a
close.
regular
I mean,
basis.
it's not a lot of us. You would think as many students that graduate, some stay in the business, some don't. It's just, a matter of preference.
Yeah. So if somebody could learn one thing from you in the kitchen, what would that be?
I would teach them how to build flavor.
Okay.
I think that's the one thing that people don't understand. They know the ingredients, they know they need to go in, but they don't understand how to come up with the flavor that results in the end.
And the flavor can come from where?
We starting with the Trinity.
Okay. And you build from there.
Build from there.
What's the best dish you've gotten out of that Trinity? What was the first dish you got out of the Trinity? And again, for our viewers and listeners, the Trinity being?
Onions, bell pepper, and celery.
There you go.
I would say probably red beans and rice. Something extremely simple, but man, packs an incredible amount of flavor.
And it really keeps that alive.
Yep.
I got to ask you, Blue Runner Foods is a great sponsor for this On the Table segment. And I got to ask you, how would you incorporate Blue Runner Foods into your work?
So, we're doing red beans and rice every single Monday. Sometimes I don't have time to put beans on, right? I get that can. We are going to start with our Trinity first, as if we were making fresh beans. I'm going to add in my sausage, and then we're going to open that can of Blue Runner. I guarantee you at the end of the day.
Stovetop? We're talking stovetop?
You got it. Stovetop. My family will not know the difference unless they watch this.
I think I have done the same thing,
Yeah.
and they are delicious.
They really are. They're really, really creamy. It's a really easy way to come up with a very quick meal.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Tell us about the cooking school. What's on the horizon for you?
So cooking school right now, we're still rolling through. We still do public classes 3 days a week, Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays. We teach people how to create Creole and Cajun cuisine. And in our off time, which are the other days, we entertain corporate companies. We do C-suites and team builds, birthday parties, anniversaries, and, family reunions. We are literally surrounded by showing people how to cook incredible food.
That's fantastic. And for people to understand that, they can go to your website.
Yep, they can go to the website. It's delightfulroux.com, and that's 2 E's.
And that's ROUX.
ROUX.
Delightfulroux.com.
Yes.
And you can see that right on the screen there, and you can sign up for those classes, which
That's
is
right.
very important. Chef D, we thank you so much. This was fantastic. I feel like we're in a good educational moment here. We've got to get this kitchen built so that we can have you
Get
back.
that kitchen together.
And
I'm
we
coming
can
in.
we can do a roux together, and I can do it the right way.
100%, I got you.
Well, we want to thank Blue Runner Foods, of course, for making this possible, this On the Table segment.
Yep,
Deeply appreciate
definitely.
you.
You're
Thanks
welcome.
for being with us. Move the chains! If you have lived in New Orleans long enough, you know that the next subject that we're going to get into is more than just about a race. It's economic impact for the city. It's also a party. It's the Crescent City Classic, and it's one of the most fun days you can have on 2 feet. Here to talk with us about it today on the Move the Chains segment is Eric and Kristen Stewart. How are we doing?
Doing fantastic. Thank you, Mark.
I am so excited. Not being a runner, I have experienced it, and it is truly an unbelievable time for the city and for the people who participate.
I don't think that so I can unequivocally say I've never heard anyone run the race, walk the race, pull a wagon, do whatever, say to me, boy, that wasn't a lot of fun. I mean, it is absolutely a great time.
It brings smiles to everybody's faces when you
Agreed.
talk about it.
It's like a family reunion for all of New Orleans and Louisiana, for sure.
Yeah, speak to it being more than a race, though. I mean, look, there are serious runners, but
Yeah, so we do have seasoned competitors that are trying to get the
Right.
top 500 posters, and they're very serious about getting their seated corrals and qualifying and all of that jazz. But we also have 65% of our participants who are there to walk, to stroll, to dance, to do whatever they want, and we call it the best walking tour in the city of New Orleans. So it's really just this party on 2 feet, just like you said. And I don't know, I think people feel very accomplished when they do it. They feel like they've done something big. That 6.2 miles is a serious feat. But we also know that the people of New Orleans, Louisiana, they do that type of walking all the time. They just don't realize it.
Yeah.
You're going to do that at a Mardi Gras parade and a jazz fest. So when they get nervous, I say, you've already done it.
And
Now
whether
we just give you a medal.
right, and whether you're doing it by yourself or with a group, like you say, with your family, it's a day to be together, and it's fantastic.
100%.
Take us through the history, because the numbers
Sure.
are now unbelievable. I mean, they're really fantastic.
Yeah, we've really, and Kristen's had a lot to do with this. By the way, our last names are Stewart, but she's my daughter-in-law. And
Yeah, let's clear that up now.
Yeah,
Well, thank you. Yes, for our viewers and listeners.
Yeah.
So
I married his
It
youngest
is a
son.
family affair.
It's a
it
family
is a
affair.
family affair for us too.
Yes.
So our numbers are back up. We'll be over 20,000 again this year. There's been really 3 different distinct eras of the race. The first one was Mac Devon when he started the race in 1979. He brought some things that, like elite runners, going out and not only getting the best of the United States, but going out
International,
abroad.
yeah.
Nobody had ever done that before.
And what was the route then?
That was the route that went from Jackson Square down Britannia Street into the Audubon Park.
Yeah.
And the fly was the after party, and the fly was the after party. Huge numbers according to NOPD. So they say somewhere in the late 80s, early 90s, there was over 30,000 runners. So our 20 is getting there.
They say.
They say, okay, this is a bone of contention.
They
Here we go
say
again.
that-
Here we go, the old days.
No, I'm just saying that we have a lot of real data nowadays. So sometimes I like to question that 30,000 number just for fun.
Yeah, so
It was a lot of people, though.
it was.
Yeah.
It was. And Mac, I mean, he really did it. We were on national scene and everything like that. He brought us into the forefront of racing. That was even before Boston and New York marathons became big.
Yeah.
So
In the marketing around that, were you doing the posters? Were they?
I think the first poster was 81.
correct.
Yeah, because those have been keepsakes.
Oh,
as
yeah.
well.
Now it's
Yeah.
like we have a very fun and difficult time picking the artist every year because we know how much it means to people to make sure that it like looks fresh and new and exciting every year. And our poster sales have been great too. I think people really enjoy collecting them.
Yeah.
So it started out, like you
Yes.
say, you were some big numbers.
700 people. Got to 30,000.
Yeah.
Of course, there was a running boom then, just like there is now. Then he went through the 90s, and they picked up another owner. Max sold it to Rick Lusky in about the mid-90s. Rick did a great job. He was an engineer for Shell. It wasn't his primary job to grow the race.
Right.
So he kept it where it was, around 10 to 15,000 people in that neighborhood. The after party was changed then, like you were talking about routes. They went from Jackson Square down Rampart Street and ended up in Tad Gormley Stadium back then. And then in 2012, my brother-in-law, Ricky Thomas with Blue Runner Foods, and I took the race over. And we've been trying to grow it ever since. COVID knocked it out of us.
That was scary for a little while.
Yeah, yeah.
Because even after, the phases have lifted, people were still a little weary of getting around crowds. So it was a scary time until about 2022 for us. We didn't know if we were going to make it.
Correct.
But
We had
our
some
numbers
great,
are backed up.
great sponsors though that
Yes.
stuck with us the entire
Yeah.
time. So
And you felt like this was the right time of the year that in April.
At Easter. So, yeah, I always ask, when did it start Easter weekend? Was that with Rick or with Matt?
I think it was with Mac, and that's a really good question
Yeah.
that we're never
need
going to
to-
get answered now.
Yeah.
But, that's
He might tell us some way, somehow.
Mac. Did you start it on the day before Easter?
A good holiday weekend.
Yeah, and the deal is that if you look at the circuit of 10Ks throughout the United States, everybody's got their own little weekend, and we happen to fit into that niche on the day before Easter.
So that you can own that. People can look
We
forward
can
to
own
it,
it, for
build
better
their
or for
calendars.
worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's just not one day. The race is just not that day. You've got things happening around that.
The Thursday and Friday prior to the race, people pick up their bib and T-shirt at the Hyatt on Loyola. We don't do race day pickup. It's just too crazy for us to be able to also do that on top of starting the race at 8 a.m. So people come in and they hang out. New Orleans is also very unique, and no one's in school that Thursday and Friday prior to the race. So they bring their families. We have pictures with the Easter Bunny. We have demonstrations at the stage. We're given some free beverages and food out, and it's just a really good time.
Yeah, again, the economic impact that you're driving in the city is strong. You got hotels, people are dining out, they're going to their attractions.
Yeah, we did about 13.4 million last year. We had a study done, so
Right.
we're proud of that.
Yeah, they're
We're a nice
making
little-
it their destination. And what you're doing too is you're creating ambassadors and influencers who are going to be telling their friends. If they didn't do it before, this is their
Now they
first
want to.
time, they're going to come back.
Well, when Eric is kind of selling himself short, because when they did when they did buy the race, they changed the route too. And now we start right in front of the Superdome, and we hit every pretty much landmark in the city of New Orleans that you would want to see if you came in and into town. We go to Gator, we just see the cathedral, we go all the way down Esplanade, and City Park is a great venue to
Yeah,
end in.
it's like the walking, running tour of the city of
That's
New
what I
Orleans.
like to call it. Yeah,
Yeah.
sightseeing.
That's terrific. Now, if someone is doing this for the very first time, what advice do you give them? besides getting in shape.
Well, okay, so
That's fair.
we have a running calendar. Actually, it's a little late now. It's 2 weeks before, but
You can start.
We've had a running calendar out there every month of progressively how a walker could do it, how a jogger could do it, and how
Yeah, I follow that.
So that's a really good guide if you were back in January. Now I would say make sure you have a good pair of running shoes. That doesn't get talked about enough. If you're just going in your closet and pull out a pair of
Sneakers.
basketball shoes, sneakers, whatever that you've used for 6 years, that's not going to help you. You're not going to make 6 miles on that. At least your feet are going to hurt. So, there's always a lot of other good things. Make sure you stretch. Not enough people stretch before you run and then stretch after you run. They quit and they go, I'm done. Stretch after.
Yeah.
And hydrate the heck out of yourself.
And know your pace. Don't push yourself. If you're just going to decide to go, know what you should be doing.
Yeah, that brings me to the day of the race. Walk us through what, not only what y'all go through, what time do y'all start the prep that morning of, but
Well, I try to make Eric go to sleep the night before, and that's usually very difficult. Because fencing is lining
anxious.
up Poydras Street from 11:30 p.m. to 5 a.m. We just start building out the corral system, because also in 2012, what you guys started was a secure and safe environment for the start line. So before, back in the 90s, they used to just shoot the gun and everyone would start running at the same time. It's very hard to even conceptualize, but now we actually have them all staggered by estimated finishing times to make it secure, but also safe for the people that are trying to make times. They're not walking next to
they're not
someone.
having to fight through the crowd to get
Correct.
get to the front.
So, that morning starts at 5. It
you.
doesn't end, but
We close down Poydras Street at about 10 o'clock at night
Okay.
and start to get the fencing in place. And then we have guys on trucks that just pull it off with forklifts and lulls. And if you see them whipping this stuff around.
but the buses start at 5:30 for
Buses start at
participants.
5:30 for race day. So we have to have that all built by the time the first runner gets there at, 5:45, something like that?
They show up. They're the smart ones, because a lot of people are waiting on our bus way too close to the start line.
Yeah.
But the start line time, so that starts at 8. And then it'll probably be like 3 to 5 increments of getting through those corrals. And you'll see people walk. It's a rolling closure. But everyone's usually off the route by, what would you say, 11:45, 12?
Yeah, they kind of dictated by NOPD. That's about right.
Yeah. And then all along the route, you've got tremendous volunteers who are not only cheering the runners and walkers, but you have people giving water. My brother Jay
He's at mile
constantly
5.
is at mile 5
He is
right
at
near
mile
City
5.
Park. That's something he looks forward to. Tommy Satanovich, does he still?
Oh, yeah, Dragos is still out there.
Dragos is still with the fire engine.
He is.
And
And
is
the
he giving
horn.
water, or is it something else?
Yeah.
Something
Might
else.
be a beverage.
Maybe a type of
Yeah,
beverage.
something
yeah.
hydrating for
But again,
sure.
that's part of the fun, right?
It
I
is.
mean, that's what makes this race the most unique race.
I think so.
We also,
yeah, go ahead.
we try to, Tommy's been a fixture for I don't know how
Yeah.
many years.
And he's on Esplanade, if I'm right.
He is.
Right,
He's
before
right on the
Claiborne.
Claiborne overpass.
Yeah, that's right.
And like you said, we have 5 water stations out there manned by approximately 20 to 40 people handing out water. So that's a huge thing. And we've put a lot of entertainment. Kristen could probably speak to it better than I out on the course itself.
Yeah, we try to engage all of the young bands and cheer teams and drum lines to be out there just to cheer on, and they love showing their school spirit. We give them service hours.
Yeah.
We give them free entry into the fest, but people love seeing them on the route.
Yeah.
And
you mentioned the fest.
Oh, the fest, yeah.
They're running hard to get to that fest.
Well, what's really funny is Eric and Ricky, when I first started running, they're like, started working. They said, you have to go see other running events, because you usually get an orange and banana and you're told to go home. And we can't just do that. We
Not
can't
in
do
New
here in New
Orleans.
Orleans. They expect something much more. And our timers aren't from here. There are some people that we contract out that, come into our city to see what we produce. And they're like, this is the best thing I've ever seen. And I was like, this is just such a small festival compared to the other festivals that we have year round in the city. But we make quite an impact on the running community that aren't from here.
That's amazing, because they're walking or running to either the French Quarter Fest or a jazz fest, because that's the atmosphere you
Right.
created back at City Park.
And we have Flow Tribe playing this year. Free beer, free food.
It's great.
Gatorade. I mean,
Yeah.
you
It's all
name
part
it.
of the registration.
It's all part of the
Right.
registration.
And you've got teams competing, right? You have
Yeah.
so working together like
LCMC Health
corporations.
has been such a huge integral part of this growth that we're seeing these past couple of years as our title sponsor. And they have 800 employees right now signed up, which is like the whole point, right? That's what we want in a title partnership, is for them to understand the importance of actually being out there. And they totally get it. Couldn't be a better way. But yeah, we have teams. They're competing to have the most fundraising. Right now, the top fundraiser, his name's Brian Sands. He's raised $37,000 through our Run For It program. Wow. Which is crazy.
That's fantastic.
He's been the top fundraiser.
That just shows
for
the passion and enthusiasm that you really create with this. Where do people get more information?
Website,
Yeah.
ccc10k.com.
Excellent.
Hit the registration button and you're there.
And if you're not going to run or walk, come out to the route and just watch.
I think so.
Watch the excitement.
Yeah,
because
I mean-
it's all morning.
Come out and cheer.
Yeah.
And if you decide you want to go to the after party, just didn't run, I want to go to the after
you can-
party.
You can
That's
Yeah, you
possible
can
too.
get a ticket for that too.
All right, I got two final questions
Okay.
for you.
Ready.
What's the craziest thing you've seen during the race, and what is the best costume you've seen?
You go first.
Craziest. This is going to be.
All right.
This is okay. So I'm going to an example. You didn't say it had to be modern era.
Here we
I'm
go.
going back in the day.
Here we go.
Go,
Back-
there
going
you go.
back
He's going
in the
back to
day.
the old days.
So I watched a guy in a portalet. Some of his friends thought it would be real cute to, get it swaying back and
No.
forth. They swayed it back and forth and they couldn't stop the thing. So he went down.
Oh.
He came out.
Was he blue?
He was blue. He was blue.
Was he running?
He had just finished running.
Oh.
He was blue. He was covered in whatever might be in that portalet. He went into the river. Actually went down to, this is because we're on the fly. He went down into the fly and went into the Mississippi River to try to wash off. That stuff doesn't wash off in the river.
The blue.
Blue did not wash off. Other stuff
He
came off.
became a
but he was
member of
still
the Blue Man group.
He became
He was the
member of
first blue runner.
Blue Man group. So that's the craziest thing I've ever seen for sure.
Wow. What about
I don't think that's a
Kristen?
very good friend who did that to them.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. What's the craziest thing I've ever seen? I mean, so I enjoy just looking at the groups of people that have like funny T-shirts on that are like promoting being together, but like I don't want to be here, but Dan made me. I think that's funny.
Yeah.
I don't really have any crazy stories like that though. Now I have to start keeping my eyes open.
You've got all ages too, from babies to
Yeah.
babies are being pushed in strollers or
Right,
something.
but I mean, we have 80-year-olds.
There's like, okay, so these are cool costumes, and these guys do it every year. They'll build a pirate ship with a keg inside it, and they'll all dress as pirates. And these guys came out with real swords one time.
Really?
So it was
Wait,
like,
that was the craziest thing. I remember that now because I had to go
Yeah.
tell them that you can't bring weapons in, and they're like, "But it's part of the costume." I'm like, "You still have a sword, sir."
You're still
right.
carrying a weapon,
Yeah,
sir.
that was a good one.
That is funny because we have to go through like the prohibited items list of Champion Square every year, and they're like, "Okay, what doesn't apply to you?" I'm like,
Swords.
"A lot of stuff."
swords.
They're like mascot heads. I'm like, "Yeah, we have people in bunny costumes. You can't say that they can't have those on." It's just really funny to see that.
That's great.
You know.
That's great.
And they're like in full makeup. Like they look like Pirates of the Caribbean. It's very.
This is
entertaining.
serious. This is serious.
Yes.
Well, look, what y'all have been able to do in bringing it back and building it, I've had the joy of working with y'all over the years. You bring so much enthusiasm, and thank you. And obviously, the family affair, which is
Yeah.
always
It
good.
could have been really bad, but
It
We
worked
we
appreciate
like
out
each
well.
other still.
We do.
Well,
we do love
best
each other.
wishes on that Saturday. We'll be out there cheering for
I
you.
hope you're out there.
And yeah, it's
Okay,
going to be
good.
great. Great. Thank y'all for being
Hey,
with
we
us.
appreciate you having us on. Thank you very
this
much.
is exciting for us, so
Y'all,
thank you.
y'all are great. Thank y'all very much. All right, the Tennessee Williams and New Orleans Literary Festival is underway this week, celebrating one of America's greatest playwrights in his deep connection to our city. Joining us now, Peggy Scott Laborde. This is our 5 Minutes With, sponsored by New Orleans and Company. Peggy, so glad to have you with us.
Well, same here, because there are very personal ties with your dad.
Yeah, we're going to have to talk about
Absolutely.
you and my dad, Jerry. But first,
Yeah.
you were a judge of the Stella contest. What was that like?
Oh, it was
and,
great.
And who won?
Okay. Well, Langston Fishburne, as in Lawrence Fishburne's son. And I don't think we initially realized that, but I have to tell you just quickly about that contest. 30 years ago, we were all working very hard on the festival, and there was no publicity at the end of it. And so I realized we weren't visual. And so you just have to think about that, okay? And so I'm watching the news, the 10 o'clock news on a Sunday, and Dr. John's road manager is getting married on a Harley with a cockatoo on her shoulder. That's visual. And so I realized we needed to do something, and that's how the Stanley and Stella Shawty contest came up.
And they do Brando proud?
Oh, yes, they did. He was terrific, too. Coming in second was a puppet, which was pretty interesting. And coming in third was a young lady, Margot Fanning, who's a noted local actress.
Oh, wonderful. Well, it does draw the crowd. You've got some great media over the weekend.
Very fortunate.
And congratulations to that. For those not familiar with the festival, why is it such a special part of the city's cultural calendar?
Well, it was created in the oil slump in 1986. And actually, Beverly Gianna, who used to work with the Tourist Commission, and my husband Errol Laborde and Maureen Detweiler and some other folks got together, and Don Marshall, and realized that we needed to do something to draw people in from outside New Orleans, but also celebrate the rich literary heritage. So that was it.
Yeah, and you think about the number of locations in New Orleans where these great authors have worked from. You think about the Monteleone Hotel being one.
Of course, but Williams considered New Orleans his spiritual home, and fortunately, he did live all around the quarter. So there's even a Tennessee Williams literary tour. But we're so fortunate to have a lot of national writers still working here, and really from almost day one.
Yeah, and New Orleans really sort of inspired Tennessee Williams in his writing. How do you see that story being told?
Well, I still think that's today, too. It was inexpensive to live here, and it still is relatively inexpensive. Mm-hmm. The weather is good. Who wants to be cold? And then there's such beauty. There's such beauty just in the city, the architecture, the food. It's a fun, and of course, the music. So that's what we do with the festival. It's so many things. It's a literary festival. It's also a festival about New Orleans topics as well. It's not snooty, and that's been very important from day one. We don't presuppose that you've read all the books,
Right.
Stanley and Stella is just an example of just having, fun and doing and being mindful. There's serious topics as well too, but also we're a drama festival. That's very important too because of Tennessee.
You stage a number of the works,
and we have a lot of great partners with that too. We also have a scholars conference. Even though the festival itself is not exclusively Tennessee, it's about good words, good writing. Tennessee, we have a one-day scholars conference at the Historic New Orleans Collection.
Right. I remember the days when Rex Reed would come in and be part of the festivities.
And he had many stories to tell.
He did.
And Dakin Williams, Tennessee Williams' baby brother, who would come and recite Tennessee Williams's poetry. And he was a very interesting force of nature in himself.
And he very opinionated.
Very.
Yes. Very
always
opinionated.
A flashy dresser.
Tell us about this year's festival. What stands out? What excites you among the many events that you're going to be doing?
Well, I like the fact that I am actually doing a panel with wonderful experts on artist George Deroux. And that's on Saturday. And also on Saturday is a historic happy hour with Errol Laborde. And I get to interview the Big E to talk about the beginnings of the festival, but also about New Orleans and Carnival in general.
Yeah. You just mentioned a number of things that the first-timer could really enjoy.
Absolutely. And lots of theater, too. That's what's going to be really great.
Yeah, the casual visitor can choose through a menu of items and really get into it. And also, at the same time, explore the French Quarter.
Also, craft sessions. If you want to learn how to be a better writer, or if you're interested in maybe writing your first novel, it's really something for everybody. That's a cliche, but it truly is something for everybody.
Yeah, this has been a passion project for you for so many years, and you've really grown it into this international event for the city of New Orleans. So thank you for that on behalf of
the big
city.
thing is to bring people to town and for the locals to really understand and appreciate how important our literary heritage is.
I've always seen this as sort of kicking off the festival season. We go through Mardi Gras, everyone takes a collective deep breath, they get through all their the long nights that Mardi Gras brings, and then we get into a major festival like this.
It is a
just
rite of
nice way
spring.
to start. Yeah, exactly. Tennessee Williams was known for its colorful characters. I got to ask you, where do you see a little bit of his spirit still alive in New Orleans today?
Wow. Well, I think you still see it in the quarter if you just walk around the quarter. On Royal Street, as you know, there's plenty of music. You know, Doreen Ketchens is so incredible.
Right.
She's been playing, but she's not really a character. She's a very esteemed performer. But they're interesting looking people who are up and down Royal and even on Decatur as well. But I think there's still a little bit of that flavor. Yeah, as the days go by, we are all worried about losing that. And also, you know, the whole concept of the yacht and the real New Orleans person. I think that we're appreciating all that the more because we don't want to lose it.
No, we sure don't. We sure don't. If Tennessee Williams could come to the festival this week, what would he experience, and what do you think he would think of the festival?
Oh, he had a really good sense of humor, and he had a very wicked laugh. I think he would like Debbie with a D, who is doing a send-up. And he had a
Quite
really
a
good
performer,
sense of
Debbie
humor.
with a D.
Yes, and she's a drag performer, and she's extremely talented. And she's going to be doing 2 shows about her tea with Tennessee at the Always Lounge. So I mean, we can laugh, we can be very serious. There'll be excerpts from plays. There is Small Craft Warnings, one of his later plays. There's Streetcar being done too right now.
Right.
So, you know, it's really quite a mix. But on Friday night at the BK House, Beauregard Kai's house, a very star-studded tribute to Tennessee with Suddenly Last Summer and excerpts from the other plays. And Christine Ebersol, Rob Ashford, who's an esteemed Broadway producer and director. Oh, my goodness. Michael Cerveris. Jennifer Nettles. Remember Sugarland?
Yes.
Off on her own now, too. Just a ton of people who are going to be performing Tennessee.
And you can get all this information at TennesseeWilliams.net.
Yes.
And again,
It's a really good website.
the
And it's the big 40. It's amazing.
right. It's the 40th. It's 40th. But let's talk about you for a moment.
Okay.
What got you into the not only to the festival production side, but you've been in broadcasting for many years. You've seen so many. You've put some wonderful documentaries together. What brought you to this
Oh,
world?
well, thank you. Well, I tell you, let's go back to New Orleans and theater. I was a theater kid at Nord Theater under Ty Tracy.
Ty Tracy,
That
yes.
was the beginning. Then later Gallery Circle, Le Petit Theater. Loved theater. But I was also interested in writing and communications. I wrote for my Cabrini newspaper. And so kind of combining that, I guess, initially, and I was very fortunate to start off my career in primarily public relations, a little bit of production at Channel 12. But I wanted to do more production. So eventually I was fortunate enough to get a job at Channel 6, and a lot of that was based on the World's Fair. Well, after the World's Fair went away, I was at Liberty, shall we say.
Yeah.
And your dad, I knocked on your dad's door at WLAE, and he needed somebody to assist him because he was busy with that papal visit, we may recall.
That's right.
And so kind of running the day-to-day operation, I also did documentaries, but I pitched a show called Steppin' Out. And he said yes, and I promised him it would be easy to do and very inexpensive. and he said yes, and this is the weekly arts and entertainment overview that we're celebrating our 40th anniversary. It was at LAE almost 2 years, and now 38 years. And why, yes.
That's wonderful, and you've made such a mark on our community.
But he said yes.
Yes, well,
And he said yes, and
Dad was
appreciate
probably a
that.
very good mentor.
He was a great
He was
mentor.
was to me as
Yes.
well. Well, Peggy, it's always a pleasure. The Tennessee Williams Festival, again, it's not only the Tennessee Williams, but it's also the New Orleans Literary Festival. It's one of those only in New Orleans experiences. Literature, like you said, theater, and a lot of fun all coming together. So you can check it out, TennesseeWilliams.net. It's running March 25 through 29. You can get all the times and locations, and it's a great way to experience New Orleans, but also just the great atmosphere that only New Orleans can provide.
And Mark, thank you for all that you do.
Well, thank you, Peggy. Thank you very much. And we want to thank New Orleans & Company for sponsoring 5 Minutes With. All right, a lot going on in New Orleans, so you know what we want to do? We want to find out what's happening this week in New Orleans. Let's go to April Dupree.
Thanks so much, Mark. Here's where to eat, drink, and play this week in New Orleans. If you love gumbo, then this is your week. The 24th annual Got Gumbo Cook-Off returns Wednesday at the Royal Sonesta, where local chefs and restaurants compete to serve the best gumbo in the city. The event benefits United Way of Southeast Louisiana and features the local big-name judges, including Ian McNulty, James Clessy of Clessy Seafood, and Jeff Hurd of Hurd That Kitchen. If you're headed to the Congo Square Rhythms Festival this weekend, you better come hungry. The festival's food market celebrates the African diaspora influence on New Orleans. Grab a plate, find a spot in Louis Armstrong Park, and take it all in as artists like Chawa, the Charmaine Neville Band, and Preservation Brass bring the music. If you're in the French Quarter for the Tennessee Williams Literary Festival or the Saints and Sinners LGBTQ Literary Festival this week, why not make a cocktail crawl out of it? And as we wrap up Women's History Month, it's a great time to spotlight some women-owned favorites around the city. Starting the quarter at Prohibition or Cornet, both known for strong cocktails, live music, and a little OG New Orleans energy. From there, stroll over to Frenchman Street, where Three Muses and Bamboulas are perfect for a drink and live music. And if the night is still young, keep heading towards the Merity and the Bywater for a cocktail at Anna's, a glass of wine at Bacchanal, or an artfully crafted drink at the Elysian Bar. Consider it a literary nightcap. The Danny Barker Banjo and Guitar Festival at the New Orleans Jazz Museum runs through Sunday, celebrating the legacy of the legendary New Orleans musician with live performances, workshops, second lines, and special events. If you're festing with the family, there are plenty of other options too. The Noma Egg Hunt and Family Festival happens Saturday at the New Orleans Museum of Art, while the City Park Egg Scramble takes over Carousel Gardens, Storyland, and the Botanical Garden on March 29th. And for a messy good time, Mudfest at the Louisiana Children's Museum returns that same day with live music, obstacle courses, and plenty of hands-on fun for kids. Sports fans can also catch the Pelicans take on the Houston Rockets at the Smoothie King Center on March 29th. And if you're in the mood for theater, the Broadway tour of The Great Gatsby runs at the Sanger Theater through Sunday. For more information on where to eat, drink, and play this week, visit NewOrleans.com. Back to you, Mark.
Thank you, April. And now for something positively New Orleans. Each spring, thousands of runners and walkers gather for one of New Orleans' most beloved traditions, the Crescent City Classic. For more than 4 decades, this 10-kilometer race has done something special. It brings people together from across our city, our nation, and around the world to experience New Orleans in motion. The Crescent City Classic isn't just a race. It is a moving tour of our city's beauty and spirit. And oh, are the azaleas in bloom. As runners make their way through the streets, they pass oak-lined avenues, historic neighborhoods, and cheering crowds that embody the warmth and energy New Orleans is known for. It's a chance for participants to see our city not from behind a windshield, but step by step, feeling the rhythm of the streets, hearing the music, and experiencing the culture that makes this place unlike anywhere else in the world. And not to mention the thousands of people who line the streets cheering on the runners and walkers to the finish. It is the ultimate love fest. The race also delivers a powerful economic boost. Each year it attracts thousands of visitors who fill our hotels, dine in our restaurants, and support our local businesses. From the starting line to the finish line, the Crescent City Classic generates millions of dollars in economic activity while showcasing New Orleans as a premier destination for sports, culture, and hospitality. And of course, the race reminds us of something we all need from time to time: the importance of staying active. In a city famous for its incredible cuisine, from gumbo to po' boys to beignets, the Crescent City Classic gives us the perfect excuse to lace up our running shoes before we sit down at the table. It celebrates health, community, and balance. Because in New Orleans, we believe life is meant to be enjoyed fully, whether that means running or walking 6.2 miles with friends or sharing a great meal afterward. And as we look to the future with New Orleans as such a welcoming destination for runners or walkers, we also look forward to welcoming the Every Women's Marathon powered by Team Milk. More on that historic event on our future shows. Our Crescent City Classic captures the very best of our city: community, spirit, economic vitality, and a joyful celebration of life. And like so many great traditions in New Orleans, It reminds us that when we come together, whether to run, to cheer, or simply to celebrate, we move forward stronger together. And that's positively New Orleans. That's our show for this week. Thanks to our incredible guests and to all of you for watching and listening. And a special thanks to our sponsors, Blue Runner Foods, New Orleans & Company, our friends at Visit the North Shore, and their podcast, All the Waves. Go check it out. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell for all of our new videos. We'll see you next week.